Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Rotoworld Basketball Fantasy Q&A. I'm Raphielle Johnson, once again joined by Dan Titus of Yahoo Sports. Hope your Friday is going as well as it is for Celtics fans. We got word about a half hour ago that Jason Tatum is officially available to make his season debut. Dan, what are your thoughts on the Tatum experience? I know we discussed it a bit last week, but now that it's real, what are your thoughts on everything here?
I think those that stashed him, hey, you get Jason Tatum. That's really great news for not only for Celtics fans, but I think for fantasy managers. Like, even if you're not getting 100% Jason Tatum, I feel like even 60% is still going to be fantasy worth it. But I think there's going to be the headaches. Like, he's not, even though they don't play a back-to-back for the rest of the season, which is great, he's still going to be rested throughout their end of the season. So I think it's a good asset if you stashed him. And if you missed out, I don't think you missed out on that much either. But it's still good news all around.
Yeah, it's like Trae Young last night. He's going to be limited, but what you get in a limit from him is going to be too good to pass up if you held on to him. So,
right.
I think my one question is, who do they move to the bench? You got Baylor Shireman and Sam Hauser being the two options. Be interesting to see because Hauser provides shooting, but you can't ignore what Shireman's done since the All-Star break in terms of what he brings defensively and as a rebounder. Some of those little things, he's not the shooter that Hauser is, but you could argue that with Jason Tatum on the floor, you probably don't have as pressing a need for another shooter in that fifth starter spot. So
true. It's very true. Yeah, I wonder, I feel like Shireman's probably going to be the one that maybe sticks, and then Hauser off the bench. I feel like that just makes a really good second unit with Peyton Pritchard there. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting Eastern Conference now. Like, I see the commentary about like, oh, Tatum should wait. It's like, this guy's one of the best basketball players in the world.
Yeah.
We're not waiting for him to come back. He says he's ready. We're going.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, you get what happened with Dominique Wilkins. He came back sooner than expected and was dominant, and then the Hawks traded him to the Clippers for.
And that was the end of Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah,
Tatum's younger though, man. This is
I don't think we have to worry.
Like, yeah.
We don't have to worry about Brad Stevens in that regard. I'll say that.
No.
All right. So we got some questions lined up as usual. So we're going to get to them right away. First up is Isaac. Good afternoon to you as well. 12-team 9-cat head-to-head. What are we thinking about Najee Marshall for the rest of the season? Is he more valuable than a streaming spot?
He's more valuable to me, man. I've been a Najee truther for pretty much all season, just because if you look at the team, there's just not much beyond Cooper Flagg, and PJ Washington's been in and out of the lineup more frequently than Najee Marshall. Like, I feel like Najee's been the one consistent element of that starting lineup that isn't Cooper Flagg. So I'm rolling with him. I'd probably feel that way in that question about Max Christie, because I always feel like he's one of those guys that, like, oh, he can, if you play him, he'll be all right, but I don't know, you can't really trust him. So Najee's the only other Dallas Maverick I would really trust right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I still have some of my doubts in terms of category leagues with Najee Marshall, because you're not really going to get anything defensively from him. But like Dan said, there really isn't much to pick from in terms of consistent production on that roster. So I think that does enhance his value regardless of league format. So. And second part, Santi Aldama, if he is ever active, do you think he has value in that messy Lord of the Flies situation style rotation? I'd have to drop Reyno, Najee Marshall, or Jakob Poeltl, it looks like.
I worry about the same way I worry about any other Memphis Grizzly player that came back recently, is like, you're going to come back with a minutes restriction and you're probably going to miss back-to-backs. And if you look at week 20, Memphis has a really good schedule, but they start off with a back-to-back. So, like, you pick up Santi, you could probably get a player that's not going to have the restriction or the back-to-back issue. That might be a better streaming
back-to-backs in week 20.
Oof.
So 4
2 in week 20. Right. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I don't know that I'd trust Santi Aldama late in the season. Like, I feel like I'd rather have Olivier Maxime Prosper, or like, I don't know, John
Jackson.
Yeah, Gigi Jackson. Gigi Jackson's the guy. Jackson's the guy. You're right.
Yeah, I think Cam Spencer.
Him too.
Not great value in terms of this not starting, but he's one is going to be in the rotation every night. And that security is something that you can't really overlook. In terms of the players you're saying you may have to drop, I don't think I'd drop any of them for Santi Aldama at this point. So, I don't know. It's maybe a situation where you may be better served moving on from Aldama. Trade deadlines are come and gone in a lot of leagues, so you won't be able to do that. But you drop him outright, I don't think you're losing too much because of the minutes possibilities there. And the 3 guys you're saying you may have to drop, I don't think you should drop any of them at this point. So.
Right.
All right. Rizzy McGuire, happy Friday to you as well. Is Julian Reese a thing? And in a vacuum, would you add him over Brandon Williams, Jalen Smith, Adem Bona, Nick Richards, or Tristan Da Silva for head-to-head playoffs weeks 21 to 23?
I don't think Julian Reese is a thing enough to trust him over some of the guys you mentioned. Like, I mean, Adem Bona is going to have five games coming up next week, so you got to roster him. I think Da Silva deserves to be rostered in probably more leagues. Like, he's playing very well in that Franz Wagner role. Jalen Smith, I don't know that I trust. I don't think his calf is ready to go yet. And Brandon Williams is he's kind of like rostering Najee Marshall, where it's like he's not going to give you much else other than the counting and stats in the major categories. So I wouldn't. No, I think I'd take a Da Silva, Bona, and maybe even Nick Richards over Julian Reese.
Yeah, I feel a bit more secure in all those guys. Now, there are injury questions for each of them. You know, Bona in terms of Embiid, Da Silva, Franz Wagner, Nick Richards. I guess he may be the safest of the 3 in terms of the role, not changing too much, because you're just talking about Jalen Smith. And good basketball player, but he's not Embiid or Franz Wagner. So I don't think there will be that much of an adjustment to that rotation. And plus, the question with Reese, not just Tristan Vucevic, you've got Alex Sarr. Do they try to bring him back, at some point? And they've said that Anthony Davis is going to play at some point this season. I don't know if I believe that, but that's another thing you have to consider. So as well as Julian Reese played last night, I don't think it's something that's going to be a thing once we hit those fantasy playoff weeks for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather draft Will Riley or pick up Will Riley. I think just the way that they've been utilizing him, and he plays that kind of Keyshawn George role that I think they could have. I think he's going to be more valuable in terms of fantasy.
Trey Johnson even too. So.
Yeah. Just got to let him play more than 20 minutes one time. Like, God, come on. Like, let your rookie cook, man. Let me see him in 35 minutes.
Yeah, some of these rotation decisions have been wild. Like Sacramento playing Killian Hayes and not playing Devin Carter. It's like,
dude, they gave him another 10-day, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't mind giving him a 10-day, but it's like,
but don't play him.
You can't play him over your second-year first-round pick. You can't do that. Like, whatever, man. It's the king. He also mentioned Jabari Walker as a possibility.
Nah,
I think he's an even tougher sell than Adem Bona in Philadelphia. So
agreed. He had a great game last game, though.
Agreed. Is Jalen Smith an ad in a 14-team league? Went from out to doubtful. I wonder if there's hope. Injury spot's already taken by J-Dub. Maybe he is the drop. No, you don't drop J-Dub.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't even know if I'm adding Jalen Smith.
No, man, he's hurt. This is critical time, man. You can't take on hurt players right now. No.
Like, if you're talking about, say, Jason Tatum sitting on the waiver wire, yes. Jalen Smith doesn't have that type of resume. So
no,
man.
Move on. Find another 14-teamer. He's not the guy.
Okay. Looks like he got this figured out eventually. And he needs to drop 2 players to add Jason Tatum and Aaron Gordon from IR, 10-team, 9-cat, 18-man roster. The options he gives here: Musa Diabate, Wendell Carter Jr., Precious Achiuwa, Jimani Kamara, Jarris Walker.
Gordon's expected to be back on Saturday, I think.
No, tonight.
Tonight? Yes. Wow. Yes. All right. Well, I think you got to go with probably Tamani and Wendell Carter, I would say. Actually,
I think I'd drop Jarris before I drop Kamara.
And Kamara hasn't done that much more. Like, I feel like Jarris is one of those guys that's going to be like a late season, just like let him cook kind of guy.
That's a good point.
But I don't know, man. Like, I also still have my reservations of like, yeah, you activate Tatum and Gordon, but I don't know. Gordon has had some injury issues all year with that hamstring and stuff. Like, it's hard to trust those guys, but it's tough. It's a tough decision. Honestly, I don't know. Do you have to take them out of IR? Because like I would just hold them until you see something and then let them go. But I don't know if that's actually fair play. But we're talking strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're really going to give you in their first game back, but I don't know.
I've done that before, not intentionally, but just kind of leave a guy. Then you usually get like a notification like the following day or something that you have a player in an IL spot who's not supposed to be there.
After the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's something you can consider. But I think the one guy I would definitely drop is Wendell Carter Jr. Like he's had his moments, but just not the best category league fantasy player. No. So he's one I definitely move on from. Diabate and Precious, I think those guys are must holds for the rest of the season.
Gotta hold them.
Given their roles and what they've given you in recent weeks, you can't drop either of those guys. So Kamara, Jarris Walker, I can see an argument for either one, but I know Wendell is the one I would definitely move on from. All right, Jimmy, good afternoon. Is Nikola Vucevic a drop? I'm thinking of picking up Walter Clayton for weeks 21 and 22 as I have a buy for week 20.
Week 21, picking up Memphis, huh?
4 games both weeks.
That's not bad. Chicago, Denver, Boston, Charlotte. Actually, that's a pretty tough schedule. So that could be blowouts. I don't mind that. I think Cam Spencer, if he was available, would probably be the better of the options, but I think Walter Clayton could work too.
I think you get the one back-to-back at the end of the week, so maybe Clayton gets a start there. But man, you've got Jerome, you've got Pippen.
It's crowded.
Maybe, it is a crowded rotation there. But
if you're looking for assists, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
know if I want to drop Vooch, though. I know the role isn't great, coming off the bench, but I think he can still provide solid value there. Unless I guess if you're still in there, like who are your other bigs? That would be the question. If you can afford to drop him, then I guess it's something you would certainly consider. But I don't know.
It's a weird situation because like I think what you're dropping potentially is like you're picking up somebody that doesn't do the same thing. So like I think it just depends on if you're light on assists, then yeah, you do it. But outside of that, like I think even in a reserve role, Vooch will provide better fantasy value than Walter Clayton will. So I think it just depends on need.
Yeah. All right, going back to the last question. So let's see. Okay, he's got a bye in 2 weeks, so he's got a little time to kind of figure some things out. So that's good. But
week 21, I guess that's when his playoffs start.
Yeah. All right. All right. So I guess since we're waiting for some more questions to come through, any players or teams that you like their schedules for this weekend? Kind of close things out here.
Yeah. So now that it's Friday, I think most teams, they only have like 2 games left, so you're really just playing the opportunity space. Like I think Colin Sexton is going to be in for a nice game on Saturday versus the Sacramento Kings. Is there Saturday or Sunday? Can't remember which one. Sunday. Sorry about that. But yeah, they're like one of the worst. They're like bottom 3 in fantasy points allowed to point guards and shooting guards. So Josh Giddey's been out. I think it could be a nice little opportunity for him. Who else am I looking at? Obviously Oso Iguodaro, like that guy needs to be rostered like everywhere with Mark Williams going out for a while. I picked him up preemptively before that just because he saw that his minutes were going up. But I mean, I think he has a really unique fantasy skill set, like very underrated passer in the way that he gets out in transition. A lot of the way that like Jalen Johnson does for the Hawks. So I think he actually could be a really interesting fantasy player, over these next couple of weeks here, potentially longer. Spurs have a good schedule. Like I like Dylan Harper. He's a guy. Last game wasn't great, but I do think he's going to have a nice little end of season run here.
All right. And let's see. Jimmy says his centers are Vooch, Embiid, Robert Williams, Bam Adebayo. He's got Mark Williams too, but plans on dropping him.
I mean, I'd probably drop Time Lord before I drop Vooch. Mark Williams, but yeah, you can drop him for sure.
Yeah. So if you can get Oso, I know it doesn't look like you're looking for another big with the Vooch question, but if you can get Oso in place for Mark Williams, that's a good way to start things off for sure.
He'd also solve the assist thing too.
Yeah. That's a good point. And thank you for tuning in.
Respect, brother.
Yeah, much respect to you, man. I think Utah only plays one more game this week, and that's Saturday in Milwaukee. But what we saw from Ace Bailey last night, he's been playing pretty well, I think, overall since the All-Star break. So maybe he's starting to turn a corner a bit there. Isaiah Collier, whenever Keontae George is out, he's a must roster. I think he's someone you hold on to even when Keontae's available, just because if you drop him, he may not be available when you go back to pick him back up. So Kyle Filipowski had a really good game last night too. So a few of those young guys are starting to make some waves. I'm a bit surprised that haven't gotten as much out of Bryce Sensabaugh as I thought we would offensively.
Same.
But not like there's a lack of options. He got up 15 shots last night. He just only made 4 of them. So
he's been pretty efficient for most of the season. That's why it's like kind of surprising he's struggling right now. But
agreed.
Yeah.
Dude, Mo Bamba played 17 minutes last night.
That's egregious.
12 boards. Hey.
And then, I mean, Jackson Hayes might get a little opportunity now that DeAndre Ayton's hurt. One person actually, while we're talking about it, Chris Dunn, I feel like has been under rostered all year.
Yeah.
He's kind of like what Caruso was maybe last year, where like he always gets you like almost 10 points, probably 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and then he gets you 1.5 steals. But those 1.5 steals, when they're efficient, he doesn't mess up your field goal percentage and he doesn't turn over the ball. Like he's just a very good fantasy player. And he's been around a top 100 guy for most of the season. And lately he's been like top 80 or top 90, something like that. So I don't know. I feel like that's somebody that people aren't really picking up that I think should be. He's only like 15% rostered.
It's good calling him. Something else to note from last night's games, at least, Luka picked up his 15th technical foul. So one more, it's an automatic 1-game suspension. They play the Pacers tonight.
He's going to get one.
And then the Knicks on Sunday. I wonder if you just sit him tonight. It's the second game of a back-to-back for one. I know they don't have much leeway in the West just because of how crowded everything is, but if you can't beat the Pacers, then you got bigger problems. And I think the game against the Knicks, that's one where you probably want him to ensure that he's on the floor for that one.
Right.
You don't need him getting a stupid second quarter technical foul because he wants to argue a call.
Oh man, let me see this injury report. He's not listed as questionable, is he?
Okay. I didn't see anything. I can pull that up right now, though.
Haven't released it yet. But if he shows up as questionable, it's 1,000% with the He's not playing tonight, man. We're saving for the Knicks.
But let's see. So I don't really
see who else.
They really don't have a great streaming option if he sits. Maybe Jake LaRavia, but
yeah, I mean Marcus Smart's been getting more minutes, but that
he's another back-to-back risk. So
yeah, you'd probably go Jake LaRavia. Yeah, probably. Let me see. Anyone else who's popular on the waiver wire right now?
What do you think of Reed Shepherd?
What is Ime Udoka doing? Like, I don't know. I feel like he should just start him at this point, like, and then move Amen Thompson off ball. But I maybe they just don't believe in his defense, even though like dudes was racking up stocks. From a fantasy perspective, he's been great. But I guess on basketball, court stuff, he's probably missing some things. But he's got to play. So like, I mean, I would still hold him just because like I feel like the Rockets have looked better when he's at his best. So at some point, I think that's going to have to click. Like you can't, unless Fred VanVleet's coming back at some point, which no one's indicated. I think eventually he's going to have to be their main guy there.
Yeah, played 37 minutes last night. So playing time isn't an issue. So that's a good thing. That's another reason why fantasy managers should hold on to him. It'd be one thing if he was going to the bench and playing 22 to 25 minutes.
Right.
Still getting mid to high 30s. Yeah, you got to play him.
What about Niederhauser, going out?
That's tough, man. Because he was playing really well. Not really getting you much as a scorer, but highly efficient. You knew he's going to be there for lobs and whatnot, rebounds, block shots. So to lose him, it opens the door for Isaiah Jackson slightly, but I don't know how much I believe in him in terms of I'm going to go pick him up.
Right.
And then the other question is, does that change anything in terms of how much Brook Lopez plays? Does he play a bit more? Or they continue to make this gradual move towards the postseason in terms of his playing time? So that's something to watch there. Nothing really changes otherwise for the Clippers, I don't think, in terms of like fantasy values.
I mean, I feel like Brook's gonna have to play more. I mean, the Clippers, obviously, I don't think that they think that they can win a championship after trading James Harden.
Yeah.
But they're going to try to remain as competitive as possible. And right now, like they could still catch the 8th spot probably in the Western Conference, but like it's not moving much. It's either going to be 8 through 10 pretty much. So their fate's pretty much sealed, but I think it would make sense for them to lean on Brook a little bit more and Isaiah Jackson. So like, but Isaiah Jackson is one of those guys I feel like he could, in 20 minutes, he could probably get you like 10 and 8 with a block or two. So it could be serviceable, but like I don't know that I would trust if you had the ability to get Brook Lopez, I would try. But you know, Isaiah Jackson is going to be readily available. I would say like don't totally discount him, but don't expect to rely on him either.
Okay, Daniel, good afternoon. In a vacuum, Nolan Traore or Danny Wolf, rest of the season and dynasty values?
I mean, I feel like Nolan Traore has at least emerged out of the pack initially. Like he's leading the race right now in terms of guards there.
Really?
I think so. In terms of fantasy.
Okay. All right.
Fantasy wise. Okay. But that said, I think Yegor, like clearly he's got a good opportunity ahead of him now, especially now that his J is nice, and I think that he has the higher draft capital. So I think long term they're probably betting on him anyway. Whereas like Danny Wolf, like I don't know that you could trust that he's going to be a part of that because he's a unique talent. So like I feel like he's always going to kind of be like not a gadget guy, but like I don't see him being a starter playing 30-minute type guy. So I think rest of season I would probably go Traore, but then also like dynasty I would rather I'd rather have Nolan than Danny Wolf, who I don't know. I think he's a good rotational player, but I don't know that he's going to be fantasy relevant like that.
Yeah, and they've got some good young front court players as it is. You think about Clowney, Claxton, Day'Ron Sharpe. So Michael Porter Jr., you throw him into that mix as well if you want. You consider him more of a wing, whatever. But there's a lot more for Danny Wolf to have to sift through in terms of his opportunities, and not so much for Traore. And I was encouraged by what we saw last night because Tuesday, no assists, 6 turnovers against the Heat. Comes back on Thursday, 9 assists, 3 turnovers. So, that Davion Mitchell experience isn't for everyone in terms of what he can do defensively. But, the fact that he was able to bounce back and play much better, even if he only scored 9 points, I think the playmaking is what stood out to me. So that's really encouraging for Traore. So I would take him as well in terms of these two players. But overall, I think Dioman shown the most promise of their rookies in terms of fantasy value. Drake Powell had his moments, but he's currently injured, and I don't think he's done enough, to really get into that conversation. Ben Saraf, same thing. He's spent most of his year in the G League, so yeah.
I think Drake Powell will also be better than Danny Wolf. Not that that's part of this conversation, but
no, yeah, I can see that. An athletic wing can give you some defensive value when he's out there, at least. So, yeah.
You got to be pretty excited about this draft class coming in, huh?
This
is going to be like 96.
Yeah, this class has the potential to be one of the great ones. Man, you think about Devonta, Boozer. I know Darren Peterson's still in that conversation for a lot of people. I think Darius Acuff Jr. at Arkansas is another one who
Acuff just looks tough.
Man.
he looks real. Bro, the 3-point shooting, the playmaking, he doesn't turn over the ball a lot. Like, bro,
Yeah, I've told this story on here before, but in Noah's Dynasty startup, I picked Darius Acuff in the second round.
Wait, do you have? I'm in that. In that. Your team is a really good win now team too.
Yeah, and some rando on X laughed about it.
Really?
I don't know who he is. I don't go on there anymore, so it doesn't matter. But it's like I want.
If you're watching,
if you're watching,
I'm
not popping my collar yet, but hey.
Bro, that was sneaky because your team is like one of the best in that league, I believe.
Yeah, we've fallen off a bit recently because Beef Stew got suspended, but still in third place.
But wow, I didn't realize that you got Acuff that early. But holy,
I got him in the second round, and I kind of alternated. Like first round, I took SGA, Acuff. Third round, I took Kawhi, and then fourth, I got Koa Pete. So I'm not I don't play a lot of dynasty leagues, but it's like, all right,
you killed
I want to try to figure this out to where I can do well now and in the future, because it's not like you're not putting up money in now too. Like you have to pay now. I'm trying to win.
Facts. Wow, I did not realize that. That's crazy. Wow, you play that great because I remember looking at your team. I was like, wow, this looks like what future did you get? But you got. Wait, and you got Uzon too.
Yeah. I wish I'd taken Kingston Flemings instead, but I think he was gone by then. But
if you had a chance at that would have been I mean, this is still pretty tough. Like you look at my reserves, like my guys are like, this guy ain't making the league. 2-way like gonna be working real hard in summer league to try to earn his keep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Daniel's got another one. He's overloaded with centers, 12-team 9-cat head-to-head keeper league. Is Oso a must grab? And should I drop Nolan Traore or Scoot Henderson for him?
I would drop both for him just because I think maybe I'm overplaying Oso, but like I don't know, man. If you look at his box score numbers, man, he just touches a little bit of everything. He doesn't really get many blocks, but like he does a lot of other stuff. And like the thing we haven't seen him is really be unleashed for like 30 minutes, like 29, 30 minutes. And what he does in a limited form, he's already providing, top 100 value. So yeah, I would drop them both for him.
Yeah, let's see what the minutes were last night. Yeah, he played 36. Kaman Maluach got the other 12. That's
good to see him out there.
Dynasty managers, but I don't think Kaman's going to get much more than that, moving forward. So Oso, with the opportunity in front of him, he's a must grab. In terms of which one I would drop, man, the thing about Scoot is that while Portland certainly needs to put him out there to see what they have long term, what happens when Avdia returns?
That was the thing I was going to say. Yeah, like when Denny's back, although like the way Denny's back's been acting up, man, he could be in for 2 and then out again. So but I don't know. Like part of me is like, I feel like I would keep Scoot over him.
Yeah.
But I see your point in that.
And plus, let's see. Scoot, he's still at about 24, 25 minutes. He played 29 on the 24th, but since then, been 23 or 24 minutes, even with the 2 starts. So that's another concern for me with Scoot. Traore, we know he's going to play plenty because who else are they going to put out there at point guard at this point?
Yep. True.
Saraf's still in the G League. Tillman's hurt. I don't see a reason why they would kind of rush him back. Traore only played 25 minutes last night, but again, I think his opportunity is a bit better in terms of fantasy value, especially if you're thinking keeper league, because the other factor for Scoot is Damian Lillard. Like, he ain't playing over Damian Lillard next year if that's going to be the decision for Portland. Like,
yeah, the Scoot situation has just been between being hurt and then just acquiring other point guards in your face. Like, at some point, I feel like he's going to have to ask for a trade. Like, so yeah, I think if this is a keeper, I don't know, like 12 team 9 cat keeper. I don't know that Nolan Traore even requires to be kept, but
I don't know if either one's a keeper.
No. But I would say keep for this season, keep Nolan for now.
Yeah.
And then let Scoot go. I'm still mad you got A-Cuff. I did not know that. I'm about to stop playing that league right now. I'm like, nah, man. Ref's got this locked up for the next 5 years. Yo, I'm not playing anymore.
All right. Looks like there's no updates on the 2:30 injury report so far. So still waiting for the Lakers, it looks like. Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, Pelicans, all teams that played late last night. So
we were talking about the Bulls earlier, Nick Richards. How you feel about Gershon Yabusele the rest of the way? It's looking pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting the opportunity to play. That wasn't going to happen in New York, obviously. Like, tough situation from jump because he signed before they even hired Mike Brown. So, not exactly his guy. Yeah, in terms of his skill set and then his fit within that rotation. Chicago's got to play him out of necessity. So, good opportunities for him. Overall, he's been solid in Chicago, so that's been good for Gershon for sure. All right. Matt, good afternoon. And he's got a question here. Daniel Gafford, Jay Huff, Oso Gadara, or Pella Larson, head-to-head Yahoo points leagues with bonus points for double-doubles, offensive rebounds, and free throws.
It's a fun league. I'd probably go Oso and then Larson. No, I'd probably just go Oso and then probably, I don't know, between Huff. Huff is good, but he's just not consistent enough. And same with Gafford. So I would probably just go Oso and run with it.
I'd agree with that. Gafford's still at about 25 minutes a night. Jay Huff's in a similar spot with Micah Potter, also getting good minutes off the bench. So, of these four, I would say Oso as well. Like, you're going to get 30-plus minutes a night. That's worth the swing in my view. So, all right. And Daniel's got another keeper league question here. With a stacked middle grouping and studs like Jokic, Halliburton, Scotty Barnes, is it worth the risk to only keep my core three and shoot for the incoming class talent?
I would not. I would keep all of those three. Maybe if you want to, I feel like Scotty, I don't know that I need to keep him, but I think Joker and Hallie I would absolutely keep no matter what the incoming class is if you're trying to win.
Yeah, I think I would just hold that core three. This group, even we haven't even mentioned guys like an Alex Caravan at UConn or a Cameron Carr at Baylor. Those are guys that are probably going the 20s in the draft where you'll be able to get decent value too. So I think you keep that core three. You bet on Halliburton being back to full strength and doing what he can do as an assist guy and scorer. Scotty Barnes, obviously, I think since day one, we've all wanted to see more from him as a perimeter shooter. Yeah. Maybe it happens at some point, but I think he's another guy I would not want to let go of. So I would stick with this core three. And then even if you don't get, like, say, an AJ DeBounce or a Darius Acuff or Cameron Boozer, there's going to be good value in this incoming class for dynasty leagues, in my view. So
yeah, you're going to be drafting confidently within. I mean, even last year's was pretty good for that too. Like you got pretty good value up around 18, 19. You know, in previous years, it's just been kind of like, oh, this guy's going to be off my team in 3 years.
All right, and here's your middle guys here. You got Derek White, Desmond Bane, Donovan Clingan, Alex Sarr, Jared Allen, Alsar Thompson, Miles Bridges, Derek Queen, Fred VanVleet, and Rudy Gobert.
I would keep Clingan.
Yeah,
I would keep. Yeah, Clingan, that group. I'd probably
Derek
keep
White,
Clingan, depending on what the value is. But like more than likely, that's a lower round value anyway. So yeah, I would keep Clingan all day.
Okay. Yeah, I think Gobert is the one I feel best about moving on from. He's played better of late, but I think in terms of dynasty value, we've already started to see some signs where he isn't going to hold the same value that he did a couple years ago. So he'd be one I'd be willing to move on from.
I would keep Sarr too.
Yeah,
I mean, so we don't know what he's going to look like with AD, but I still feel like a healthy version of the Wizards is actually going to be a pretty good team. I just don't know how long we're going to see it for, but
yeah, it's a good call there. I like Derek White too. I know.
Yeah, I figured that one's probably like a third round value ish. That I think he just might be, the value might not be there to keep Derek White anymore. Like you could probably just draft him whenever. Derek Queen, come on, Pelicans. What are y'all doing? Like he had a good game last night, but still,
I don't know. He certainly had his positive moments on offense, but there are moments on defense. Like that's why they benched you. Like the one where Nick Clifford gets a follow dunk on a missed free throw when he was standing right next to
there.
Like it's not like he came in from the top of the key like you've seen like Jordan or Iverson do. Like he was right there on the block next to him, stepping the paint in the follow dunk. It's like, all right. Those mental lapses need to be addressed. So
yeah,
but there's certainly offensive promise. The question for New Orleans is, how do you go about pairing him with a front court player who can cover for him defensively? Because right now you've got Zion, which is why it didn't work ultimately in terms of those two together. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like at this point they're just praying that Zion stays healthy the rest of the season, and then you try to trade him in the offseason.
All right. Nick G, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be. Do you think it's easier to find steals or blocks off the waiver wire in the playoffs?
I think it's easier to find steals than blocks. There's just more guards in the league, but blocks to me are too random. Like at least you can get deflections in steals that I think there's more readily available, but either way, it's still hard to find them around the playoffs either way. Like those are two tough categories to cover for. So I would implore everyone right now, if you're watching, go get Conchar, because that man just, all he does is get steals. Like he had 5 yesterday. I don't care what the hell else he's doing. Just that man's going to get you 2 or 3 steals. So if you're looking for that, go get him right now. John Conchar is probably like under 10% rostered.
Oh yeah. It's a good call there. Rizzy McGuire, welcome back. Is Dennis Schroeder a viable ad for the rest of the season? And will the Cavaliers play it safe with Donovan Mitchell?
I don't know about rest of the season, but I mean, you can add him for now. I had him, unfortunately, in that game where he had more turnovers than assists. But either way, like I think, Schroeder, as long as Donovan Mitchell's out, like I think Schroeder will hold value there. So I would say until Donovan comes back, keep rolling with him.
In terms of, let's see, because they're 3 up on Toronto in the loss column for 4th, 1 behind the Knicks for 3rd, and then 3 behind Boston for 2nd. So
they're in the mix.
They could.
They're in the mix.
Yeah, they could definitely move up, and I think they're at the point where they need to make sure everyone's healthy for the playoffs. That wasn't the case last year, and we saw how that went. I think even the year prior, they had some injuries to deal with in the playoffs early on. So I think that we'll play it safe with him. You're dealing with a groin strain. Those soft tissue injuries can be really tricky if you come back too soon. So I think they will play it safe with him. And to that point, like Dan said, while Spider's out, Schroeder is worth holding, even if he is coming off the bench since James Harden's on the floor. So, yeah. And that may carry you through the playoffs, depending on how available Donovan is. So.
And it's not like the Cavs are really going to help you that much this week anyway. They only had 2 games. So it gets better from here on out, though.
Yeah, they got 3 next week, and then
I think they have 4 though.
No, they got 4 next week, and then 3 in week 21. So good schedule there. Another 3 in 22. So let's see. Next week. Philly's got 5 games, including 2 back-to-backs. Like, geez, that's a crazy schedule.
Dem Bona's gonna have probably a pretty good week. I would say if you miss out on him, maybe Jabari Walker might actually be an ad if Dominic Barlow is not playing, or Trenton Wofford, excuse me. Yeah. But I would say like the must add off of that would probably be Quentin Grimes. Kelly Oubre missing last game, although I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing.
And the Pelicans have the worst schedule, 2 games on Wednesday and Friday. So,
you can drop Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, Ross and Eve Misi, Herb Jones.
Sadiq Bey a hold at this point?
I think he is. Yeah, I'm not dropping him. I'm probably not dropping him, Trey, or Zion. Everyone else can go. DeJounte Murray, they can all go. They can all go.
Hey, is Dyson Daniels a top 50 player in keepers?
I don't know that I need to keep him.
Yeah.
He's not like I don't know. Yeah, for where you drafted him and how he's performing this year, like I don't think he's a value. So you probably drafted him around the 5th. Anywhere from the 5th to the 6th round, I'd say. He's not that type of player, so I would let him go.
I liked him better before we saw what Nickeil Alexander-Walker could bring to the table, and then more recently, Jonathan Kuminga. Now, excuse me, you've got a capable defender at the point in Nickeil, unlike Trae Young, where Dyson had to do a lot of covering for him. So I think he certainly will have good value in fantasy leagues moving forward, dynasty leagues, but I think he's taken a hit just because of some of the improvements that have been made in other spots in that Hawks roster.
And he can't shoot.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem. Wasn't a huge issue last year. He's averaging 3 steals a game, but 1.9, that may not seem like that big of a drop, but it is when you're only shooting 12.6% from 3 on 1.5 attempts. And he's not a good foul shooter.
He's not taking them and he's not making them.
Yeah. The assists have improved, so that's good.
His assist and rebounding is great. But if he's not getting 3 steals a game, it's not going to, I don't know.
The upside's limited,
Yeah. Wow, 12% though. That's like, that's really bad.
I'll give
only 1.5 attempts per game.
Yeah.
Like you are a non-shooter at that point.
Yeah, I will give him credit for understanding that it's not there, so he's not going to try to force it right now. But that's certainly something he's going to have to improve upon this offseason for sure.
Who's shooting more, him or Amen Thompson? Probably Amen, right? It's probably pretty close though. Amen's not jacking him like that.
Amen's at 1.6 attempts per game. He's shooting 20.6%. Like,
bro, as much as like I think that goes to show, man. Like I know the fantasy. I'm a huge Amen guy. Like I have more shares than I probably should, and I overdrafted them for sure. But like these guys that do a lot that can't shoot, I don't know. You might have like a 2-3 year window of where you're like maximized, and then it's like, hey, if y'all haven't figured out how to shoot yet, you're not going to play anymore.
Yeah,
not play, but like you're not going to get the starters minutes and prioritize you like the franchises look like they're going to. But yeah, man, it's been like Ja is another one. Like he's like 14% from three. Like Asar hasn't figured it out yet. What's he shooting? Like probably 1.3.
No, I hope not.
No. 1.3 attempts.
Oh, okay.
I think he's somewhere in that 10 to 15.
No, he's at 0.4 attempts per game, and his average attempts have decreased each of his 3 seasons in the league.
Fuck, man, that's just no confidence, man. Like he's not shooting. So like that goes like so he can't be an early pick next year because let me make sure. Man. That's crazy how bad a 3-point shooter, or not even how bad they are. It's just like they're not even considering it really.
The thing about Ahmed, he's shooting about 77% from the foul line this year.
He improved that dramatically this year.
Yeah.
And on good volume too.
Mm-hmm. Like that's one of the things that a lot of people say is like an indicator of what your potential is as a shooter. But
good point.
It hasn't translated, to 3-point percentage. So
also still very young, but I wonder, I'd be curious to see what as early as kids are coming into the league now and how much playing time they're getting and how many shots up, when that cliff is for like, oh, they can actually improve and become a really good shooter.
Yeah. Thompson twins just turned 23 to end of January.
So by 26, they got to know how to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe before that, I don't know.
Yeah, Dyson doesn't turn 23 until a couple weeks from now. So,
and none of their jumpers look like Jeremy Sohan, so like they should be fixable.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to him though. Like he was doing his one-handed free throw for a while, and it looked like his form got better. And then now he steps out from 3, and he's got that like weird hitch thing again. I'm like, where did these? How does that happen to your J, man?
I have no clue what happened. Obviously, adding Victor Wembanyama and Steph Castle in back-to-back years and what those two are able to bring to the table immediately, that changed the trajectory of that franchise where they probably didn't have as much time to spend on Sohan in terms of his development. But yeah, his opportunities and numbers fell off a cliff before he was released. So that's another guy who clearly has to figure some things out with his offensive game this summer because those defensive specialists, you can find them in a lot of places, and guys who can provide a bit more as catch and shoot guys too. So he's got to figure that out. All right, Cliff, thanks for tuning in. Christian Brown or Ace Bailey, 10-team head-to-head rest of the season. Who do you like more?
Give me Christian Brown. He's found his groove, been way more efficient this time around. When he's actually, he's come back a couple times and gotten hurt again. But like, I think he's finally found this is what he does in fantasy, like low volume shots, but always pretty efficient, can get you a steal, get you threes, doesn't turn over the ball a lot. That's definitely someone I'd want to have on my team right now. Just the efficiency alone, I think will set you apart in head-to-head.
He's the safe pick.
He is the safe.
I'm not doing safe. I'm not doing safe. I want Ace. We're taking Ace because I feel like with his opportunity in Utah, yes, the efficiency, you could take a hit in those percentages, but he's going to play a lot. He's going to get up a lot of shots. I'm going to take Ace Bailey for the rest of the season. It's risky, but
you're definitely going to get the points thing and the threes. I don't know. Aces look good, man. It's nice to see him come on the end of the season.
Agreed. All right, non-fantasy question. Pure shooter. How do we rank these 4? Reggie Miller, Larry Bird, Steph Curry, and Ray Allen.
Damn. Pure shooter. I feel like you got to have Steph number 1.
Yeah,
and I'd probably go Larry. Larry and Ray is tough though, man. Oh man, yeah. So probably Steph, Larry, Reggie. I don't know. I might be. Reggie was good, man. It's tough. Yeah, I'll go Reggie. I like Ray's game better than I like Reggie Miller's.
Yeah. In terms of Larry, like the game was so much different back then, in terms of the 3-point numbers that guys would get up. So I do wonder what he would have been able to do in this current NBA. Like he would have been a badass no matter what. But
dude,
I can just imagine some
taking
of the
10 threes a game.
dude.
Like Larry.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's someone that between the difference in the way the game is played and also medical advancements, like his back issue, who knows what numbers he would have been able to put up in the current NBA. Like, so I would go Steph 1 as well. Like he holds the pertinent records for shooters. So I think he should be number 1. I'd go Larry 2nd, and then I would go Reggie 3rd and Ray 4th. But maybe banned from returning to the state of Connecticut after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Reggie's. I hope the older we get, I feel like people are going to forget that Reggie was such a badass that he was.
Yeah.
I guess the Pacers being relevant last year made it bring it back a little bit, but I think he's ruined his career the more he speaks on television.
I'm not going to touch that. Anybody?
I didn't. Brutal on
that ain't me. Nah, bro.
Brutal on it.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Love the player though.
We're gonna move on. I'm not. Come on, man. We ain't doing that. All right, Admiral Nita asks, should he drop Maxime Reynaud for Oso Ighodaro 10-team category league?
That's a tough question, man. I would say trust your gut. I don't know that I would do it just because I know that I'm getting the 20 and 10, and zero competition. Whereas, it's tough, man. I'm gonna say no. Because 10-team, your waiver wires probably look a little bit better. So like even if you miss out and something else happens, I think you'll be able to still get a pretty good player. So like I don't think you need Oso. Whereas like Maxime Reynaud to me is like guaranteed, league winner type dude. So I'd hold Maxime.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I'd hold on to Max just because the role is kind of locked in for the rest of the season. So yeah.
It's a hard decision, though.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What are our expectations for Tatum for the rest of the season? We kind of discussed this earlier, but we can go back to
it. 20 minutes, probably miss some games, but if you have them, you're starting them, and yeah, just hope for the best, man, because you got a really good player who hasn't played all season, but I think he'll find his way and he'll provide stats. So that's what you need.
Yeah, maybe we get a couple games late where he plays closer to starters minutes, but I wouldn't bet on that. I think more than anything, it's just get off the rust, make sure he's healthy and is able to his body responds well, so that when the playoffs run around, you don't have to worry about back-to-backs, but the high intensity kind of tilts the scale, so to speak. So you want to make sure he's healthy and good to go. So I'm not expecting elite numbers from him, but you still put him in your lineups for sure.
It's pretty interesting that AD's reportedly going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Like, I feel like all these stash guys might give us like 3 games. Exactly. Like we're talking about it. It's like, oh man, like you got to start them because they're back, and then they're just gonna, have a finger injury and then be ruled out for the season.
Yeah.
For Wizards, though, I wonder if it's more of like hey, we're about to give you both significant amounts of money. So we want to see you at least go out there and see what it looks like with the team. Like, all right, we're good. Here's your bag.
You got that. And obviously that first round pick, top 8 protected. It seems like they've done enough work, so to speak, in the standings to where they should be okay there. But,
they're all right.
Yeah.
They have some nice margin built in there.
Exactly. Cliff, no problem. You may not have been here earlier, so we had no problem talking about it again. So yeah.
Bro, if the Wizards get Bansa, or if the Wizards get if they get any of those top three, even if like a Boozer would be, bro, that team could be something, man. If healthy, it's huge if, but it's just crazy that they go walk into a top 3 pick with the talent that they have. Like, they've been sandbagging it all year, man. They still got Sark, Keyshawn George, Bilal. I don't know. Bilal could be a role player, but like, and they're just missing. They're missing that 2 guard, Trey Johnson. Like, they got talent.
Yeah, it's the Wizards though. Like, I just feel like there are some teams that you don't really bet on to take advantage of these situations, and that's one of them. But I will give them credit. I think they've done a good job with the foundation of this current rebuild. So
I think they're doing the right thing. They have to
spend money. They've done well. So
whether you're investing in, like, I feel like what's the most max years that they're going to give AD is probably like, what, 3 years? Maybe.
Yeah, you can't go too far.
Yeah. And that's how deals are being made now, more so with the bets. They're all doing like 2-3 year deals.
Yep.
Did you watch the Wizards last night? Did you? I
watched a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Trey?
I thought he looked pretty good. You know, I knocked down a couple deep threes. I think it's going to take an adjustment period for those other players in terms of the shot selection and also his ability to find them. Like, they haven't had that type of point guard in recent years. So that's going to be an adjustment for those young guys. So there's certainly value in having Trey out there play some of these games. You know, maybe he gets a run out for a couple weeks and they shut him down for good. We'll see what happens and how they play that. But yeah, it'll be interesting here for sure. All right. Can and will Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr coexist on the court together?
It's fun. I mean, I guess interchangeably, I feel like they both are at their best at their power forward spot. But like, I think if they get the right backup center, they absolutely could both coexist at times. You know, they'll play together in a lineup, then sub them out, switch the configuration. I actually think that's a really good thing for Alex Sarr. Like, you know, he can learn a lot from AD from a defensive standpoint. And and Sarr was really good this year anyway. So yeah, I think it actually is a really good front court if they can stay together. And from a fantasy perspective, you got AD there, like, more than likely he's going to get hurt at some point. So then you have Alex Sarr to just take on the rest of it. So I think that's like actually a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, I think they can. You know, AD's made it known that he doesn't want to be a center. So, you know, they'll figure it out. Like Dan said, they're going to need to address the backup center role too. I don't think Tristan Vukcevic is going to be the long-term answer in that role. So that's what free agency and potentially the draft is for. You know, you strike the right second-round pick in terms of a backup post player. They can be in business in the front court for sure.
Still mad the Sixers didn't draft Maxine Reynaud. They chose Janai Broom.
Oh my God, yeah.
Wow. Like, come on. Yo, this guy he looks way better than this balding. I mean, Janai Broom was a beast in college, but I'm like, come on, man. We're talking about the NBA here. This isn't college basketball. Like, the guy's undersized 4. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. All right. Last question before we get out of here. Do you guys think the new look Jazz are a playoff contender next year? Kessler, they re-sign him, Jaren Jackson Jr., Markkanen, and right on down the board.
No, they're not. I'm curious to see what they do with Walker Kessler, like whether he buys in or whether they try to trade him. I don't particularly like JJJ's game in terms of like winning I don't know. I just don't really like his game like that. And I don't know, we just haven't seen enough from Utah over the last few years to just, you know, when they're healthy, to say like, oh, they're going to be better than, you know, 10 other teams in the Western Conference. Not sure that I'm there yet, but I like that their moves that they're doing. Like, Keontae George is going to be good, and now he's got a defense around him to be able to insulate some of his defensive issues.
Yeah. I think they can be a play-in contender. Playoff in terms of top 6, I don't want to go that far yet, but especially given what we've seen from Keontae George this year, I think they're a team that should definitely be in the play-in conversation. next year. We'll go from there. But
yeah,
Kessler, restricted free agent. Do you match an offer that he receives? Sign and trade? What do they do here? Or they just try to get a deal done before he even gets an offer sheet? So a lot to figure out there. Jaren doesn't bring much to the table as a rebounder, so I think it's imperative to bring back Kessler for that reason alone. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see how it all works out. Because you're probably asking Lowry to play the 3 or Jaren at the 3 defensively. So they're going to have to figure some things out with that front court. Because I think all 3 of them have to start. And we'll see how that shakes out, though.
Yeah, that's a really big front court.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've done our hour. Thanks as always, you guys, for tuning in. Thanks to Dan for chipping in these last 2 weeks. Reggie Miller slander aside. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there and take care.